The last play that we ran in the Super Bowl, the players came up with that, and they come up with some bizarre things.
Well, how do they get approved?
I've got 51% of the vote.
Please welcome Andy Reid.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Sidekicks Conversations. We are coming to you today from Overland Park, Kansas. That's one of our two headquarters locations, and I am so excited that today we are joined by three-time Super Bowl champion and head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid. Andy, this crowd's happy to see you. Thanks for coming over, man.
Oh, it's a wild group. You're right here, yeah.
So the team's playing, right? They're out there practicing. How's everything looking? Tell us about the season that's coming up. I'm so excited that football season's approaching. The guys are on the field. What are you seeing out there?
So right now we're in our off-season program. We've got 3 phases. We are in phase 3. That's the last phase of this thing before we get a month break for summer. And the players go do their thing, and we kind of, as coaches, we go hibernate on a beach somewhere for a few weeks, and then we come back and training camp starts. But for right now, we've got the players in town. It's the first time that the new rookies, have been able to work with the veteran players.
So what's that like? So these guys walk in, they're Kansas City Chiefs, and yesterday they kind of weren't. I mean, their first day, like, what's that like walking in there and you're sitting there with Pat Mahomes playing football?
Listen, they come from the draft where they are the kings, and their colleges, they're the kings. I mean, they're it. And then they come here, and now they're back to being freshmen. And their eyes are wide. They don't know exactly where to go or what to do. And then we load them up with a ton of lifting, ton of the football part of it, like learning a new language here in a couple days, and tell them to go out and run fast and block the right people and do all that. And it's a load for them. They're sleeping well at night.
While we're on the rookies, there's so many things about your leadership style I want to get into in a minute, but one of them is you pick the guys. Some of the biggest names in football, you saw them when they weren't the biggest names, and you saw something, and that's one of, I know, several ingredients that makes a championship team. But what's that process look like? How do you do that?
The way the coaches and the scouts look at it should be just like you do when you're going, I want that guy, and you're picking teams as a kid. And so if you get to know those players that well as they're out at the college level, then you can make some halfway decent decisions. You got to get in there and you got to get to know these guys.
And people say that about you. Football people say you're a real players coach. I mean, what does that mean? You're really getting to know these guys and figuring out how to unlock their greatness once they're here. What's that look like?
Yeah, they're kids. And so you've got to get in and you've got to talk to them about life and family and where they came from. They're from all different places in the country, obviously, but also the economic group. I mean, you're dealing with guys that haven't had much. And then you're dealing with kids that have. And you're dealing with guys from smaller schools, and then these huge colleges.
Let's talk about leading champions. One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you today was to try to unlock some of the leadership secrets, because you haven't just won a Super Bowl. You've gone back over and over again and won 3. And 2 in a row. What's that like for you as the leader, and what's that like for your team? And one of the reasons I ask is, our team is faced in our smaller stage than yours, with something similar. We were underdogs 10 years ago. Nobody cared about us. We were rapidly shrinking, distant number 4. Today, by some measures, we're the most successful company of our kind in the world. And, you're doing that on one of the world's biggest stage, the National Football League. What's that like? How do you get this team to come back the next year? They've been to the mountain already and still have the hunger.
Yeah, so we think we have a decent plan for that. We're always trying to step forward, try to stay up. I wear the guys out from an offensive standpoint with new thoughts, new plays. And the coaches, they want to throw half of them out, but that's okay. It's ideas, and you put it out there, and it gets guys thinking. And then the players love that. I try to get them involved and let them not only let their personalities show, but also let some of their innovation in the game show.
What's an example of that?
Well, Tom and Jerry, right? That's the last play that we ran in the Super Bowl. But the players came up with that, and they go down, we call it the laboratory, and they come up with some bizarre things.
Well, how do they get approved?
So I've got 51% of the vote. So, and then it's a trade-off from there. I go, listen, if you run mine, I'm gonna run yours.
Yeah. How do you get guys that have got Super Bowl rings to come back and not make it all about themselves? Like, and still have, or do you not have to do that? You're creating a culture where that's not.
That's right. Yeah, you said it. You've developed a culture. And so how do you know when the culture is working? Well, when the veteran players are now teaching the young guys. So, and they're using the same language you're using. They bought in. And then you get players from other teams that think they know everything. And they come in and they go, veteran guys go, man, not so much. This is what you're going to do here. And that peer pressure is obviously the strongest pressure. And as coaches, you can stand up there and preach it. But you get the guys, the Pat Mahomeses, the Travis Kelce's, the Chris Jones, Bolden. You get these guys that are saying the same thing you're saying and then doing it at 100 miles an hour, then you've got it.
So you came from the offensive side before you became head coach in Philadelphia. You know, people give you credit for being a brilliant play caller. Like, how do you make those determinations? Like, obviously you've got a game plan, but as soon as the game starts, the game plan a lot of times kind of goes out the window, doesn't it? Because you don't really know what you're facing. What's that like in the heat of the moment to have to decide, am I improvising here? Am I sticking with this plan? How do you think about that?
Yeah, so we put a plan together within that, on that sheet, that menu that they call, right? On that sheet, there are 300 some odd plays on that sheet. You can't obviously call that many a game. You're going to call 70 plays in a game. So, a bunch of those are kind of thrown out the window till you're able to possibly use them somewhere else. But within that, you have answers to the tests in there. You just got to figure out what the other team's doing, that chess match that goes on, and then you've got to make sure your guys know what they're doing.
You're defending 2 championships in a row. What's the most important key to success as you ramp the guys up and get ready for this season? Like, what's on your mind as you prepare the team to try to defend this championship one more time?
Yeah, so listen, you got to do everything with positive energy. I feel you and your crew here is that you feel that positive energy. Our guys have to feel the same thing. I'm old, right? I can't hide that. That's not a secret. So, but I tell them, I'm gonna bring it every day. I'm coming at you every day with good positive energy, and I'm gonna teach. And if I'm not doing it, if I'm not maxing out every day, you let me know.
There's a pop singer, and she was hanging around with the team last year. And some people say dating, the greatest tight end in history, she could really blow up and become a big deal. How's that? How is that dynamic?
I would tell you, she's a good girl, first of all.
Everybody says that.
Yeah. Her dad is a big football fan. When I was in Philadelphia, he was a big Eagles fan. They're from Pennsylvania. He played at Delaware. And so, she had a pretty good idea about what football is all about. Probably not at this level, but a pretty good idea. But she handled it right. She came in, I mentioned this publicly, but she came in and made the offensive lineman Pop-Tarts. Literally made the Pop-Tarts. She didn't give me any, but she made it, that was a big problem. So she went right to the offensive lineman and took care of them, and she was automatically brought into the fold. You get the offensive line guys figured out, the defensive line guys figured out, you're okay.
The team is filled with such superstars, and obviously, that creates an interesting dynamic. Pat Mahomes, there's no bigger name than that. And it just must be kind of interesting for the dynamic of the team that you've got the biggest names, maybe even in the history of the game.
The unique thing, right at this time of the year, we get college coaches that are out recruiting, and they stop by and watch. And so some of them I've known for years. And this was today. And one of them came up to me today and he goes, I can't believe Pat Mahomes comes out every day like that. And I go, yeah, every day. Every day he
But
comes.
so do you. People say that about you too.
Well, yeah, no, but I'm old and I've been around, right? I've seen a lot of things. So, but he comes out and he's going to come into the huddle every day and go, let's be great today. And this is a guy that's won MVPs and done all this stuff and Super Bowls. Every day he says that. And then he believes it. And it's important because great players make everybody around them greater than they already are. And you bring out the best in somebody. And then let's fear nothing. Let's fear nothing. Now, listen, we all have fears, but the next thing is attack everything. So get your mind set for that, and you can dive through those fears. If you're willing to attack it, you've just got to find that key to get in there and try to allow that person to maximize his ability and do it in a positive way where you're not an energy taker, you're an energy giver. I think we all feel like we'd rather be around those people, somebody that's going to bring it every day. And it doesn't always have to be a smile on your face, but I'm coming at you, man. I'm coming at you with my best stuff every day.
So it's about, if you can give that energy and that idea, of fear nothing, attack everything, you're not just going to be good, you're maybe going to lift people up around you.
Absolutely. You're going to make everybody around you a little bit better. And that's what great people do.
Well, let's finish with Kansas City and what this team means to Kansas City. And what's it like for you? You've emerged as a important citizen of this community. You've gotten involved. You've given back. You live here. Tell me about your few years being a part of this community and what it means to have a world championship football team.
Sure.
Here in
I was
town.
lucky enough to coach the Mizzou Tigers, and so I got to know the area way back when I was young. And to come back I at least knew my way around a little bit, but it was all about the people, and I love the attitude of the people. Not that people aren't good everywhere. I mean, there's so much great everywhere. But to come back to the Midwest, I appreciated the welcoming back. It's been tremendous. Raising a family, just had our 13th grandchild.
Wow. Well, Coach Reid, you're an inspiration. We're so happy you're at the helm, man. Congratulations on all your success and good luck this season.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for
Mike.
your leadership
Thank you.
lessons.
Thank you.
Thanks. And you guys, that is Sidekicks Conversations for today. We'll see you next time.